What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we will not be working on the 54, but we'll be working on a tool that is integral to the 54 getting done, and that is this guy right here. I picked up this compressor recently. It's an old Craftsman 60-gallon. It's quite ancient. The guy that I picked it from said that he's had it for about 20 years and it was his dad's, so it's got to be pretty old. But it is a 60-gallon. It's a 6.5 horse. I think new, it was supposed to do about 15.5 CFMs at 90 PSI. So it's pretty good output. Should be good for sandblasting and all those things. At least maybe not continuous all the time, but you know, for long spans. I've already kind of tested it out. It does okay, but the recovery rate is quite slow. This is a oilless compressor, so I suspect that the compression rings are worn out because from just about empty to 125 PSI, which is the cutoff, 130 maybe, it's taking way too long, like probably over 20 minutes, if not longer. So pretty sure the compression rings are worn out in it. I think that tends to happen on oilless compressors. Not a huge deal, but today I figured I'd take you along with me as we attempt to rebuild this. Now this thing is incredibly loud. It's got to be way over 100 decibels. I'm not kidding, guys. This is freaking loud. I had to wear hearing protection as I was sandblasting last time I attempted to use it. So let's get the remaining PSI off of it. It does have a small air leak. Here, I'll show you. So I have pressure tested all of the fittings. I've, every different connection point. I put brand new connections on here. There's one here, one in the back, which is kind of odd. I think honestly somebody probably made this up. I tested the connection to the tank. I did all the soaps and stuff. I had all the coverings off, which I'll have to take off again, just to make sure that it was oilless. Read a bunch of stuff online, but there's the specs right there. So 15 SCFMs at 40, 11.5 at 90. So I think that's pretty good, especially for a shop compressor anyways. But anyways, I do have a small air leak right here. It is very small. So like right now we're still at, well, it's damn near zero, but we were at full pressure well over a week ago. So it's a pretty small leak. It's not really affecting performance. I think this is an oil thing, so I don't think this is a moisture trap. It might be, but anyways, there's not much in there either way. So I'm going to take the covers off, and then I'm gonna bleed this as best I can, and then I'm gonna take this piece off, retape it, and we should be good to go. So since I have a fitting right here, I should just be able to take an open-ended connection and move it, connect it onto here very carefully. Now, if this thing had 100 PSI, I wouldn't do this because this would become a bullet, but considering we're pretty much at zero, and I'm just confirming that fact, I think we'll be okay to try to hook this on the end and make sure all the pressure is off the tank before I start unscrewing this guy. So check this out. I took the little U-bolt off. Look how loose this is. I mean, I didn't even loosen it yet. It's so loose. No wonder it's leaking. I'm wondering if this is the right size fitting even, because it looks like they just have a butt ton of tape in there. Probably hasn't held over the years, but regardless, I'm gonna take this piece off and see what we can do. All right, so we got the new pieces on, got a little bit of pressure on it. It's not the prettiest job. I had to add some pipe dope. I did the proper like taping and stuff, but don't hate me on that. I know that's not what you're supposed to do, but for just a quick test of the generator, it'll last for today. So now that we got it all sealed up, we'll get a benchmark test. I'll actually take pressure off of this and crank this thing up, and we'll go up from 0 to pressure and just see how long it takes. All right, just got about the air. It's crazy, as little as it just rained just for me to test it, how much volume of air was already in there. I'm going to take these old, you can tell this thing's old because the plastic doesn't feel like rigid anymore. It's kind of like, I can say spongy, but you can tell it's like old plastic. So I'm gonna take these covers off, and that way we can take a look at the motor. All right, so you can see this is a unique setup. They don't really do this much anymore except for the small, really small compressors. This is a 220 single phase motor. So I have it wired in kind of like where my welder was wired in back there. I put a new plug on it when I got it. But the motor for the actually building air, the motor part of this is actually attached to the electrical motor. So the engine, so to speak, is here on the end attached to the pump. It's not one unit, but it's kind of built as one unit rather than two separate things with the pulley. Probably why they're saying it's so damn loud. But as you can see, each cylinder acts like a cylinder of a car. On your compression strokes, it's pushing air through these pipes all the way around, and eventually this makes it to the compressor. So what we'll be doing today is taking these heads off, just like if you're rebuilding rods and pistons on a car, and redoing the rings on them. So let's start getting these heads and stuff off. All right, got the cylinder to cylinder piping off. Let's take the cylinder off and see what it looks like. Ooh, I think the whole piston's wanting to come with it. There it goes. So that is the sleeve and all right there. The insides of these are so interesting. I have no idea how that works. There's like a gate in there. Holes on this side. No idea. You can see this has a rod, see, and a piston just like a car. So the seal right here that goes around here is probably what's worn out, and that's what we got to replace today. So this is the kit I got. It's from a website called Master Tool Repair. It's one of the most consistent sites when I was looking up repair parts for this compressor. So this kit comes with a new sleeve. It comes with gaskets, which also include the compression ring. So this should get us fixed up. What's cool about their site, and this is by no way a plug because they're not paying me to say this, but what's cool is when I was looking at this, it said if you're seeing this symptom and this symptom, do not buy this because you'd be wasting your money. I mean, when's the last time you've seen a website say that and not just try to get your money? So I thought that was pretty cool. I have pretty good confidence that this is the right stuff, but we'll see here in a second, I guess, won't we? All right, so this is the head. This guy was like this. This is the head. This guy was like this. Just took this off. Some of the gaskets stayed behind. Looks like there's a gasket here that we'll need to replace. The right one right here is the old one. This is the new one. I don't know why I don't think you gotta have chrome, but it should work. They look like the same size to me. If anything, this chrome one's a little bit deeper stroke. I think it's a little taller, but that really shouldn't matter. All right, so we're coming to the point of most every project where you realize you don't have enough parts. So, but the good news is I think I figured out where most of our problem is, because the gaskets on the head side don't look too bad. But if you look in here, if we're looking inside the cylinder, here I'll pull the piston up. The freaking gasket around the piston is in bad shape. As you can see right here, there's some blow-by going on. On the top side, there's some blow-by going on right there. The gasket overall is in horrible shape. So I think what we need to do is probably go ahead and replace not only that gasket, but if it makes sense financially, just the whole piston to probably make it easier, because these gaskets come pre-installed. The thing is you can't install even a new gasket. Even if I wanted to use this piston, I can't do it from the top, because you can see, let me zoom in again, the compression ring here has like a fold to it upwards, so it can really only go around the piston one way. So essentially, as soon as I removed that cylinder from it, that meant I had to take the whole piston assembly off, which is not a big deal. You just gotta take these screws off to get the fan off, and you should access the bolts that hold the piston on, or at least the rod on, I mean, the rod that holds the piston. So it looks like we're gonna have to make another order. and we won't be able to finish this today, but for you, it'll be in a snap. So when I get those parts in, we'll continue this video. All right, we got the parts we need, so now we need to take this fan off. We got the new pistons in and all that. So there's a center bolt that keeps the fan on, and then there's a bigger bolt, looks like 3/4 or something, that actually holds the pistons. And see how the nut is not in center? So as the nut goes around, you can see it's kind of off the center, so the pistons go with that. So let's take this fan off and see what's behind there. So I took this guy off. Looks like a counterbalance weight. If you see, it's got a flat spot right here. So you really can't screw this up because it has to go back on that pretty much that same way, like this. So the piston should be free to come off now, or at least this outer one. Yep. Just like that, piston and rod are out. Alright, before we start reassembling, I got the bottom plate here. This is where the exhaust is with a new gasket, so we'll be replacing that. Should be able to just press it in there like so, and there's like a little groove that it follows. Of course, you got to get the old one out, which I just used a little pick. There you go, fits nice in there. So we should have this as a rotating mass. Alright, so the the compressor should be ready to go. I'm a little worried how tight this feels right here. Maybe that's just because of the new corks in here. Maybe it'll loosen up a little bit after some heat. So once we get this thing power, I'm going to watch this very closely. This is incredibly loud, so don't be surprised if the sound doesn't get blown up a little bit. If you're wondering why I have this blue tape, it's so I could see from a far distance away how close I'm getting to that 125, 130 mark. So without further ado, everything is connected here. Let's see what happens. Alright, it didn't like something. Something was getting burned up in here. I don't think it was the motor. I think it was something to do over here in the rods. So it did not like something. Good news is the motor's not hot at all, so it's got to be something over here in the rod. So I guess we'll take the fan back off and see what's happening. Alright guys, this will be a lesson for you. I just learned a lesson. Look at the carnage on the brand new piston. And there's a reason why these are failing in the old setup. See, the old ones, the bearing was flush on both sides. Okay, this one's flush on one side, not on the other, and it is causing a huge amount of rub. This aluminum is melting almost immediately. So unfortunately, these new pistons are not going to work. So what I've done is I've taken the old pistons and I've rebuilt the gasket, right? So they did come with a gasket set. I thought it would be more difficult than what it was, but now that I've done this one, it was kind of silly of me not just to do that part. It would have been cheaper. So I've actually just replaced the gaskets, or the compression ring, I should say, in the original pistons. So that should fix this up. There's way less resistance in the rotating assembly, so I know it's going to work this time. Let's see what happens. Alright, remember, keep an eye on this gauge, and we'll see if any smoke comes out of the compressor, but I'm thinking there won't be this time. So we're back to zero, back to square one. The motor and the rebuild are great, but apparently as we got up to pressure, if you noticed, it was getting up to about 120, but it was really struggling. It would not go above 120. Was trying to feel around. I felt a bunch of air here and I was like, oh no, the tank is going bad. But in reality, there's a big crack in this oiler right here. So the air kind of exposed it. I don't know if you can see that. But I think I'm going to eliminate this because I have an oiler over there that I'm going to use. So I'm thinking that I could probably take all this off and just put a air hose end on it and we should be good. So let's see if that works. Okay, back to zero. We have this 90 now with the coupling on the end. We'll do that for now. I realized since we lost this Gitsons here, I couldn't turn the whole assembly without taking a bunch of stuff apart. And I'm getting tired and it's getting late in the day. So here we are. We're gonna run this thing again and see what happens. Woohoo! Got to 130. Don't hear any leaks, but we'll spray for them. Alright guys, so as you can see, not too bad rebuilding the compressor. Took a little work, made a couple mistakes, but we got it rebuilt and it's working good now, good as new. So overall, pretty good deal. I'm happy with it. Should serve my shop fine. So hope you guys learned a lot. If you like this video, I'm also doing the 54 project and a couple other things, so be sure to like this video and subscribe to follow me along, and we'll learn more together, make more mistakes together. So see you in the next one, guys. Bye.